Okay, so I'm going to have some fun and I'm going to do a little video and I'm going to show you how to do your homework. And then I'm going to show you where I'm really sneaky. So those of you who watch this video will find out where I've hidden the files so that you can easily do your homework. Okay, so I'm going to start with, that's not my, weighted average isn't my favorite. My favorite is FIFO. So I'm going to start with FIFO and I will go on to weighted average. Okay, so in here, we've got this Bavarian chocolate company. They're doing candy bars. They put all their materials into process at the beginning of the batch. Okay, we're gonna call these things batches. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna determine the equivalent units of production so that we can assign cost to three different groups. The the work in process beginning, the started and completed, and the ending work in process. And we'll see that here in just a minute in the FIFO sheet. So, okay, here is, okay, as of October 31st, we have this information. We have a balance of 2,300 units. It's completed by 60%, 3 divided by 5. Now remember, in here, the materials were all put into process at the beginning of the batch. So this 3 divided by 5, in this dollar amount actually applies to their conversion cost. Conversion costs are direct labor and factory overhead. Then we added another 2,600 units, and there's the cost for the direct materials. Here's the cost for the direct labor and the factory overhead. These two are conversion. We transferred 25,700 units, and then they want to know what the balance is, and they want us to figure out, what's it called? They want us to figure out the ending work in process. So I'm going to grab the one sheet that already has the formulas in here. So here's one that I'm going to use in my face-to-face class because I'm going to make everybody do this by hand. Well, you're online with me, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to go over here and you're going to see I'm going to mess around in here and I'm going to, this was actually a problem from the textbook. So I'm going to delete all the white. Everything else is a formula. The green are formulas. And you can do this too. Look, there's nothing left. Okay. So according to our instructions, and I got to go to the right page. I printed it out for myself so I can look at it. We had 2,300 units. Okay. Oops, nope, I don't want to do that. This is 100%. Work in process ending is always 100% when we're doing FIFO, first in, first out. Okay, we had plus 3 divided by 5, 60%. And then over here in the instructions, it tells us that we are 20% complete. Okay, there we go. Make it look pretty. So I put that information in there and I got it from the instructions. 3 divided by 5, 60%. 1 divided by 5, 20%. Okay, got that part done. Now my beginning work in process from the instructions was 2,300. We added 26,000. Okay, let's go look and see where I got that from. Here's the 2,300 and there's the 26,000. Okay. Now the units I need to account for. I need to account for 2,300 units. And in here, I need to figure out how many of this 26,000 that I start and complete. So it's telling me in my instructions that I transferred over 25,700. Okay, so we transferred 25,700. First in, first out. Of those transferred, 2,300, my beginning work in process, it's in there. So now we need to figure out how much did we start and complete. So I take that 25,700, subtract what was in the beginning work in process, and I get 23,400. Okay. Oh, look at that. Everything's calculating for me. And then my ending work in process. So we moved over 26,000. We completed 23,400, so I got 2,600. Okay. So what happens here is we need to take our direct materials and then our conversion cost, direct labor, factory overhead, and we need to determine how many equivalent units of production. So what we're going to do, we figured this portion out, is we're going to assign it a percentage. Basically, it's like we do something called full-time equivalency here at the college. 2 part-time students make a full-time student, so on and so forth. And we're doing the same type of theory here. What happens is that I am completely 100% done with my direct materials. So I'm not going to have any direct materials to add into our beginning work in process. However, I still need to complete 40% of this. So what's happening here is 40% multiplied by the 2,300. It gives me 920. These are started and completed. So we added the materials and we totally completed the conversion costs. So this is going to be these, this is 100% of materials at our equivalent units of production, 100% of our conversion cost multiplied by the units. Then I'm going to add these two together. That's what's transferred to the cutting department. Okay, and make sure, yep, and that balances to the 25,700. So those are the EUPs transferred to the cutting department. I still need to figure out what's going on with my ending work in process. So here's my units, 100% materials, only 20% of my conversion cost. So I'm going to take this 2,600, multiply it by 20%. This is all about determining our units, okay? It has nothing to do with dollar amounts. Total units. Okay, the next thing I need to do, so this is units. Now we're going to look at cost. I need to figure out how much cost was in the beginning. Okay, and beginning work in process. We had what? I'm going to look at the paper. Yeah, I'm going to go to my paper, 46368. Okay, I got that in the instructions right here, 46368. Okay, woo, look at that, beautiful. Materials, how much materials did I add? Well, according to this, we added 429,000. Where did I get that 429? Well, I got it from the instructions, right there. Then I'm going to take these two amounts and add them together, and that's going to be for my conversion cost, okay? So that's plus 100, 560, plus 48, 480. Okay, my total is 624, 408. I want you to look at this too. 624, 408. Excellent. So what we do now, since we figured out what our cost for the month are in reference to our direct materials. So right now I need to account for 26,000, according to my formulas, direct materials. So I'm going to take this, divide it by 26,000, I get the 1,650. Same thing up here. My units of production that I need to account for is 24,840. Divided that into the 149,040 and I get $6. Okay. So that is how we determine the cost per EUP. Now we need to go down here and we need to assign it. Now, because I am who I am, I've already done this with formulas. So once you get to this point, as long as these two balance, you're done. So how do we get this? I'm going to come from up here. So my beginning work in process is group 1. This is started and completed, and this is ending work in process. So up here, we already know there's your 46368, got it from right here. And then what we do here is our beginning work in process. We had 920 units in conversion multiplied by the 6. There's my answer. I add the two together. That's my beginning work in process. Now I do the same thing with my started and transferred. I need to account for 23,400 multiplied by the 1650. 23,400 multiplied by the 6, right there. Add the two of them together. Those are the costs for that group. Okay, this is my started and completed. And then my ending work in process. So up here, I'm going to go to the 2,600 multiplied by the 1650, right there. And then the 520 multiplied by the 6. I've got that answer. And so there we go right there. Perfect. Add these three up together. I'm in balance. Life is wonderful. So this is already set up for you so that you can go in here and just, on your problems that you're going to have during your homework, use my spreadsheet. It's easy. It's set up just like theirs, except for mine tweaks it a little bit better so that I can put those formulas in to save us time, because you know what? It's all about working smarter, not harder, and get your answers correct. Okay. So there is the first portion. Now I need to go back to the handy dandy. Okay, I finished the FIFO. Now I'm going to go to the one that's not my favorite. This isn't my favorite, though I'm going to tell you it's probably the easiest one. So in here, I know you're like thinking, why doesn't she like the easier one? I don't know. I just like FIFO better. I'm a FIFO person. So now we're going to do weighted average. And this is something to do with flours or flour, the stuff we put in bread and cakes. Okay. So here we have the shifting department. They have 1,500 units, 75% completed. The total dollar is 3,400. And then we added this during the period, which was 18,000 units. Work in process left is 1,800 units. So I'm going to come over here again. I'm going to the formulas. And so work in process, my ending was 75% complete. So I need to do 75. My beginning work in process tells me I had 1,500 units, and then I moved over 18,300. Where did I get this information? Well, I got it from the instructions. So down here, it tells me 75% complete. Also tells me the 1,800 units. And then up here, it tells me that we had 1,500. And then we transferred in. Oh, I put that wrong. Needs to be, oh no, I did 18,300. Okay, no, I got it. Okay, good. So that's where I got that information. Okay, 18,300. Okay, so we got that information. Total whole units to account for 19,800. What was transferred to the well, it's not the cutting department, but it doesn't matter. What was transferred over 18,000. Okay. Ending work in process ended up being 1,800 units. And again, I found that from these instructions right here. 18,000 units were transferred, ending is 1,800. Okay, so there's all of my EUPs calculated. My beginning work in process, now I got to plug in these dollar amounts. It was 3,400 right here. And what else was in there? Okay, so we had our materials were 3,260. And our conversion costs were 1,4,560 plus 7,490. Okay. I've got $58,050. Okay. What happens here is we calculate our current month's EUP. Okay. How much was transferred out? I take the transferred out, 18,000, multiply it by 3, I get that amount. And then I come over here, my group 2, that's my ending inventory, 1,350 by the 3, and there's that. That's why it's a little easier. But anyhow, I'm in balance. So that's how you do this. It's really that simple. Makes me happy that it's that simple. So I hope you had as much fun as I did. I know this chapter may seem difficult, but when you use my spreadsheets, it's not bad. use my spreadsheets to help you get through the process. It's all about just moving a batch of a product, think Twinkies, through the system. That's all we're doing. We start making Twinkies in batches. You got batch one. How is it moving through the system? Batch two. How is that one moving? Do we have all of it completed or have we finished some of it? Just think about it in batch. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this as the answers. I'm going to save a copy. We're going to call it answers, and I'm going to, along with the video, post this into your modules.